and would build a car a minute, and you'll learn the standard work and the hand-on, and don't worry about doing the whole job. You won't be able to do that. Just learn the systems and tools and so. Go around the airplane. I'm thinking the only thing I remember him saying was, "You won't be able to do every car at the end of them." And I'm thinking, how will I not? It's a 60-second job. How hard can 60 seconds be? How will I not be able to build every car in a 60-second job at the 4 weeks? I will show them. So that was my goal, was to be the first one to be able to do every car. They were right. I couldn't be. But I died trying. So the first week, they literally gave us 15 seconds of work each week. So the first week, they gave us 15 seconds of standard work. You know how long it took me to do 15 seconds of work? It took me more than a minute. I know that. Because the line was going, I wasn't able to keep up. Towards the end of the week, I knew I was getting better because I could do 15 seconds work in less than a minute. So then I could now keep up with the line. So the trainer could kind of come and go, the team leader. And towards the end of the week, I don't know if I wasn't paying attention or I was rushing, but I scratched one of the cars. I was putting in my fender liner and 3 screws, and I slipped and I scratched the fender. And I said, shoot. But nobody saw me because I checked. The coast was clear. So what should be happening? What should my behavior be? Pull the hand on. Yeah. You think I wanted to pull the hand on with 1,000 Japanese around the thing? To let them know I just scratched this car. The answer is no. So my first response was, I don't think it's that bad. Kind of small. Once the car gets on the ground, tires and wheels, I mean, who's going to know any better? But I had about another 15, 20 seconds to do the rest of the work. So my conscience started getting me. The team leader told me to pull the HR or whatever, and now I think it's okay. I tell people I think I got paranoid at the very end and thought maybe that hidden camera's up here somewhere or something. I better go ahead and pull the end on. So I pull the end on. Sure enough, the team leader comes over. He tags the scratch to go to the pain hospital, which they took me to a couple hours later to see the scratch get fixed. And then he stood with me for a few cars, and he taught me when I'm shooting those 3 right on the edge, put my hand up to brace the air tool so it can't go through and scratch the car. So that's what I did the rest of the time, was brace it on those 3 screws. So no more scratches on that. I told you we have huddles, right? One in the morning, one in the afternoon. And so this was an afternoon one we went to next. And so I don't know Japanese. They were jabbering Japanese, and I would be drinking my water or whatever. But then I heard them say that afternoon, my son, and like, well, they were talking about me because they just kept jabbering. But I'm listening a little more careful. Then I hear them say, scratchy. Nice scratchy. I think I know the translation, but I could not believe the team leader was telling the 20 people that it screwed up. Like, how does that respect? I'm like, that is crazy. And now what are they going to do? I told the whole group I screwed up. Now what are they going to do? But sure enough, the whistles go off to call everybody back to the line, and they start streaming past me. They're shaking my hand and patting me on the back. I'm like, what are they doing? Are they saying goodbye? I'm like, so I got out my knee translator card. I got out my card, and they got somebody else to take my place. And 10, 15 minutes later, I see the translator come back. She's talking to the team leader, comes talks to the group leader, then comes talks to me. And says, Mike, son, they want to thank you. I'm like, what? They're thanking you for scratching my car? No. They're thanking you for what? Letting them know you scratched the car, for pulling the end on it. Because they said it was a small scratch on the lip of the fender. It could have gotten past inspection all the way to the customer. That would have been worst case. More than likely, they would have found that in inspection, but then they would have had to waste time and effort tracking it back to root cause. And by you letting them know that neither of those happened, they're wanting to thank you. Oh, well, that's a different story. Well, thank you, team leader, for telling everybody how well I did. But then people will say, well, did you go scratch more cars then? No. Right? That wasn't the behavior they were. identifying the problem. So I learned that day, I learned several times, but that day it was like, so problem identification is critical. And then what? Problem solving, right? And one trainer said, Mike, son, one mistake, okay. Two mistake, no good. Right? So what do you do between the two? So we were taught to ask two questions when we had issues at our facility. Whether it was a scratch on the car or $1 million paint dump that I put the story in the book that I had to evacuate the whole plant in Texas and the president telling me the story. Two questions we were taught. Because he was from General Motors and he said he was ready to go find out who the hell caused this $1 million paint dump and evacuate the whole plant and all the fire engines there. And he was one team leader putting the wrong chemicals in it. So his GM behavior was find out who the heck did it and take care of it. Right? What's the Toyota behavior? So we were taught two questions to ask. And he said he remembered right as he was ready to pounce. He remembered the two questions. And then he asked those two questions and he realized he had 30 people watching. He was setting the culture, right? So what do you want to know? You just had a $10 million paint dump. What two things you want to know? Root cause is part of it. So what have we learned? So that question is around root cause. That's good. And then after root cause, what's the second thing you want to know? How can we prevent it from happening again? Those are the two questions. What have we learned from this, and how can we keep it from happening again? And notice the we, not the you, because the we is usually back to the Shingo thing. It's something in our systems anyway that drove that behavior, whether it was no standard or mistrained or whatever, right? That's why it's what have we learned?